I'm Josh Cooperman, and this is Convo by Design with a conversation from the past, but one that is no less relevant today. And that's one of the main reasons why I love producing the main stage at the WestEdge Design Fair. WestEdge. It's coming up this November 14th through the 16th in Santa Monica at the Barker Hangar. This show is very special to me. I've been working with principals Megan and Troy and co-founder Troy for years. This is a special show. It's my favorite show in California, and that's saying something. It's a labor of love, and it's with gratitude and appreciation to Megan and Troy that I get to do this every year. I wanted to share some past programs with you as we prep for the show this year. And it seemed like a good time as we lean in on this year's show. One of the things that I have always loved about WestEdge is how it represents a celebration of design and a yearning to help elevate the industry in the future. For me, that desire to elevate has taken the form of freedom to curate panels, interviews, and concepts that speak to the ever-changing and evolving nature of the design and architecture space. Troy and Megan have always supported my ideas and encouraged me to pursue the unique, the undiscussed, those conversations that in some way I've always tried to do for you here on the show. So for the past 2 to 3 years now, you've been hearing a lot of conversations about sustainability and design, right? The importance of sustainable consciousness in the industry. And you've also been hearing a great deal about the story behind materiality and product. A true desire for narration in the design and materials that comprise it. So it's important, right? And I thought I would share our conversation discussing these very same issues, recorded live at WestEdge in 2018. Before we get to this, some thoughts on sustainable design and panel programming over time. The panel program you're about to hear was recorded in 2018, and while not many were talking about this subject, in 2018, we weren't talking about sustainable design. We really weren't. We have come very far, and you're going to notice this since 2018 with regard to sustainable design practices, in large part due to conversations like this one, elevating the ideas and moving them forward. This is one of the reasons why the Southern California design community and beyond love this event so much. You're going to hear it here first, and then you're going to start to hear those ideas expressed elsewhere, the ideas and concepts that are shaping our industry now and well into the future. This year, we have an extraordinary slate of talks featuring amazing talent scheduled for the show. Find out more at westedgedesignfair.com. You can click on the show notes and click on the link. That'll take you directly to the WestEdge programming page. But first, this is such a joy to look back at these conversations and share them again. Sustainable and Timeless Design, featuring Whitney Tinsley, Brett Englander of Cerno Group, and Catherine Richardson of Libico Linen. This program was moderated by Erica Heat of Interiors Magazine. And you're going to hear it all right after this. I am just incredibly proud of this partnership I've got with Thermosol. They have been presenting partners of Convo by Design going on 5 years now. And there is a certain amount of pride that comes with saying that the show is presented by the company that is the best in the world at what they do. Thermosol engineers the most exceptional smart shower products and steam shower systems worldwide, full stop. And it's for a few reasons. First of all, they were the first company to design and patent the technology here in the United States, dating back to 1958. Thermosol, a U.S.-based manufacturer based in Round Rock, Texas, employs an engineering team that designs, tests, and continuously refines the product. Their quality control team tests every single steam generator before it departs the factory. Who else does that? Nobody that I know of. I have the pleasure of working with some world-class designers and architects who tell me, and if you're in the business, you know this, that the idea of luxury has changed, especially when clients want a spa-like bathroom. Steam is mandatory, or it's just not considered a luxury. And if you want to add steam, you have only one true option, my opinion, and that's Thermosol. Mitch Altman, third generation CEO of this family-owned company of 65 years, continues to innovate in the bathroom and shower space through technological marvels such as intelligent showering systems, sound therapy, aromatherapy, technical interfaces, and so much more. And now Thermosol, the industry leader in steam bath equipment and technology since 1958, as I mentioned, is enhancing its already stellar family of products with the new indoor and outdoor luxury saunas, available in 3 designs. The configurations are absolutely amazing, and you should probably go check them out. Indoor and outdoor options. It's amazing. You really do need to check them out. Go to thermosol.com or at Thermosol on the socials.
Edge for sustainable, timeless design. My name is Erica Heat. I am the editor-in-chief of Interiors Magazine, and we have a few select down here for you. We actually ran out, so if you want one, hit me up after the panel, and we'll get you one. And I am also a board member of the Sustainable Furnishings Council, who is representing this CEU today, but it's much more than a CEU and a learning opportunity. It's a talk on, I believe, the most important endeavor that exists in design today, and that's sustainability. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our panelists. We have Whitney Tinsley, Director of Education for Moore & Giles. Say hi, Whitney. Brett Englander, Director of Sales and Marketing for Cerno.
Hello.
And Catherine Richardson, VP Sales of Libico Linen.
Hi.
So they represent, Moore & Giles is leather, Brett is lighting, and Catherine is textiles. And each of them has prepared a presentation that you'll see scrolling as we talk. So please do turn your attention as we talk to the presentation, which will help illustrate some of the things that they're talking about. So I'd like to start with each panelist telling us the kinds of visuals you brought and how they represent your commitment to sustainability. Do you want to start, Whitney?
Hi there. It's working. My name is Whitney, and I represent a company called Moore & Giles, as Erica just mentioned, and we are a supplier, a designer and supplier of fine leathers into the upholstery market, and a lot of what we focus our attention on is creating and designing leathers that are going to be timeless, that will be with us forever, and following the innovation in the industry as it is evolving, because our industry is evolving. So we sell and supply leathers for anything that is being upholstered, and we also have a line of leather goods, luggage, and things like that that we sell at retail as well. So we are a leather company.
Once again, yeah, Brett Englander from Cerno. We're a lighting company, but as it applies to this panel and sustainability, we're very vertically integrated, which means our entire process is happening under one roof. Raw materials are coming in, finished product are going out, which is why I was so excited to be a part of this panel and honored and speak to it, because inherently that process, and I'll probably sound like a broken record by the end of this, is very sustainable. So yeah, lighting all made right down the street in Orange County, so Southern California. And yeah, my 2 business partners and I started about 9 years ago. So the learning curve has been steep, but things are going really well. Yeah, excited to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Catherine Richardson with Libico. It's a 160-year-old Belgian linen weaver of linen. We still do produce in Belgium. Everything is done in Belgium. We're one of the last, now 4, unfortunately, Belgian linen weavers in the world who do it in a way that's borrowed from artisanal methods. It's certainly done now mechanically because we have quite a bit that we control and make sure we're consistent with. But it is a carbon neutral company as of 2015, which we're really proud about. And it's something that speaks to the natural part of our business where we start with a natural product. You've bought it in the supermarkets. It's flaxseed that you have in your muffins and in your juice and whatever. And we grow this fiber that's naturally farmed, harvested. Very little resources are used in the production. There's no irrigation needed. There is very little, if any, pesticides at all. And then during the processing, we try to use sustainable methods, recycling our water, obviously with socially responsible work practices and employees in Belgium, again. I want to stress that. And we really speak to, I think, an interest in natural fiber where we're not the new kid on the block. It's been around since the Egyptians who wrapped their ancestors in linen to mummify them. But we are sort of the new kid on the block, I think, in terms of people's understanding about natural textiles and how they can be used. So our mission is really to do the right thing for ourselves, and obviously there are other things behind that, but to spread the word that linen, stronger than cotton, second only to hemp in strength and durability in natural fibers markets, and a very green product, but also still very beautiful. And I hope you'll see that in some of the pictures that are circling through. The interior's use now has become so strong, and we're very much a part of that trend, but it's been one that's timeless and hopefully continues to be. So thanks for having me.
So something that we did want to stress about sustainability is that even though there are some serious and sobering statistics and realities out there, and that's the reason that you're all here and that you're dedicated to sustainability, we also all have we've made a promise to be as sustainable as possible and to only improve. So we don't want sustainability to be something scary. It's something that we need to do. It's natural for us as human beings to take on. And under the sustainability umbrella, especially as it relates to the Sustainable Furnishings Council, the meaning can include resource conservation, global warming, indoor air quality, toxic pollutants, overloaded landfills, workers' rights, extinctions, and local economy. So even though, again, there are some sobering realities, we can't help but take a positive approach to this and know that together we can turn this around. So, yeah, thank you. So, as much of an immersive dive as we can take into this, why don't we start with you, Brett? What does a long-term approach to sustainability mean to you and Cerno in particular, and personally? And there you are planting trees, too. So.
Well, I mean, by definition and as it applies to Cerno, sustainability is about a process that can continue indefinitely, and that's really a complicated thing. I mean, when you have a supply chain and you're dependent on other people and you're raw timber coming out of the ground and cutting it down, raw metal, raw silicon, all these things. So for us, sustainability is a process that at our factory we can make sustainable and continue indefinitely, but also heavily reliant on these materials that are now, I mean, not all trees in the ground are endangered species, but it's definitely harder to come by, and we're seeing it in prices and everything. But for us, as succinctly as I can put it, it's just a process that we can continue indefinitely, and it's a challenge.
I think at Moore & Giles, we consider our position is that we are recyclers. at best, really. If you consider the fact that the hides are available as a byproduct and that we're making use of them and they'd otherwise be landfilled or burned, it would be a blunder to not utilize those hides. So as far as the process of leather making is concerned, we are taking something that would otherwise be a waste material and creating something that is timeless in that it will last for lifetimes. It is a beautiful product. It did not at one point was not a symbol of luxury like it is today. It's been with us since the beginning of time. Man was using it to shelter and protect himself from the elements. And so we think that it is, as anything else, a continuous process of improvement. And we're constantly looking at new innovations in technology as far as tanning is concerned so that we can offer products out to our customers that meet those needs. So we think it's a responsible recycling of sorts, and we partner with people who see it the same way and who are using clean, responsible methods for producing products. And we have actually recently stumbled upon a technology of olive tanning, and I'll probably talk about that a lot too, which is a byproduct of the olive industry that can be produced into a tanning agent. So it is a byproduct of one industry that is being utilized to tan the byproduct of another industry, which is the hides. And so we're pretty excited about it because it is a new technology, and it has met the requirements to be able to receive a Declare label, which is offered by the International Living Future Institute. So it helps with LEED credits for designers that are working on these large LEED projects. And this is just kind of the beginning for us. We think that tanning has always been an evolution of innovation, but we want to be on the forefront and want to offer those types of innovations to our customers.
And let me interrupt really quick. Brett, while we're seeing you planting trees, will you tell us about this endeavor?
Yeah, we grew up in a small town in Southern California, Laguna Beach. My business partners and I, surfing, sailing, we're really committed to the natural environment. We really have a deep connection to the ocean. And at the beginning, when you're starting a company, you would love to be philanthropic, and some companies have done an amazing job of cooking that into their DNA from day one. We didn't, but as the company has expanded, it's become more and more of a priority. Last year, we had an opportunity in those pictures you just saw to team up with the Laguna Canyon Conservation, and we planted, my business partners and several of our employees went out and planted over 100 trees into this old creek bed that actually, Aliso Creek, feeds right into the Laguna beaches that we grew up on surfing. It acts, what's happened with 35 years of extreme development and a lot of negligent development, there's not good waterways. There's all the natural waterways have been paved over. So this is one that actually starts about all the way up Saddleback Mountain, so almost 20 miles inland, runs all the way down to the coast. And these trees will now act as they're all indigenous to the area. They were there previously and have been since taken away just through development. And they went there, and now they act as a natural filter. I actually haven't been back since we planted 100 of them, but my friend, I was with him at a wedding last weekend, and he runs the conservation committee, and he said all 100 are growing and doing well.
Nice.
So yeah, we plan on planting more trees this year.
Good job. And Catherine, while the Libico shots run, Libico, first of all, is the longest term representative that we have up here.
You're saying I'm old. It's okay.
No, just the company. And so what's Libico's long-term plan? And look at this dedication to the natural world, and let's discuss that. Would you?
I think it's interesting. When I first started working for Libico about 12 years ago, they weren't talking about what they were just doing innately in terms of this ecology as a focus for how we produce this product. And it's 60 years old. It's the 5th generation, so it's something that's evolved down through family heritage, traits, processes that are passed from generation to generation. But it's something that I said people need to know about. And they said, well, why? This is just how we make linen. This is our story. And I said, because it's so important to call out and have people understand that it's a product you can see as beautiful, obviously, and I'm, yes, biased, but I think it's beautiful. But it's also something that you can feel proud about and good about having in your homes, and know is healthy and safe for your environments, with all of the chemicals and the additives and VOC products that are being reduced now, of course, and we like to see that. It's so pervasive in our environments that when you look at a natural product like this, you don't even have to start having that conversation. So I think it's just an extrapolation of that philosophy that has evolved just innately over centuries and through their artisanal processes, that it's a part of the product and a part of what we do. And visiting the mill, every time I go, everyone I see who's weavers or who are the sewers or whomever, they say, oh, do you like what we do? And they're so proud. And they're working with their hands. I mean, some of the things that you just saw, the pictures, it's everyone's hands working. And it's a craft. So I think it goes back to also that artisanry and feeling good about the future, that we are not doing anything to harm. It's leave no footprint. It's give something to the people of our community. It's a small town, but it's one of the largest Belgian linen weavers with only 230 employees. So it's making a significant impact in so many different ways. And I think our hope for the future is that more and more people embrace that story, whether it's with linen or with natural processes in maybe products you don't think of as sustainable to begin with, or ones that you don't know about that are sustainable. We want to contribute to that conversation and community and hopefully promote that aesthetic.
You are listening to a conversation about sustainable design from the WestEdge Design Fair in 2018. We'll be right back. Man, I love this. I have a new sponsor partner on the show that I want to introduce you to if you're not already familiar with them. If you are a specifying designer, architect, landscape architect, or savvy design enthusiast, if you have heard about the quiet luxury movement, this idea of crafting a lifestyle around understated elegance, simplicity, and sophistication, there's more to it than that. And I will add uncomplicated living. Isn't that what we all strive for? I am extremely happy. I'm really thrilled to share a company that embodies all of this, utilizing proprietary technology and a focus on sustainability in their stunningly beautiful products. It's TimberTech. TimberTech is the premium decking company delivering multi-tonal, color blending, and natural wood textures in a product that is virtually indistinguishable from a natural wood product. What does this mean? It means it's everything wood should be. A beautiful look that blends seamlessly with a well-designed space, providing years of enjoyment and performs the way you want it to. No splintering, fading, peeling, cracking, or rotting. I had a wood deck at our Manhattan Beach home, and I gotta tell you, it was exasperating every year doing the random board flip, taking out nails, resetting them, restaining them. It was a complete pain. It was complicated, and I didn't look forward to it. I wish I had TimberTech, because TimberTech is not only uncomplicated, it's beautiful. It comes in over 20 finish options and 9 collections, and 85% of the material is recycled. This is premium decking for your next project. Learn more and specify it for your next design project. TimberTech on the socials or timbertech.com, where you can find a retailer near you, as well as a number of tools to create, design, order samples, and get the expert help you may need. TimberTech is uncomplicated luxury and performs. It's your choice for your next deck project. As a busy professional designer, you know how important it is to find the right partnerships. Partnerships that allow you to specify the right products for every project. Professionals like you don't just have time to sit around and waste, right? So let me tell you about one of my partnerships. Pacific Sales is here to serve you with expert, knowledgeable, and non-commissioned professionals to help you specify the right product for all your projects. Non-commissioned. That means their only incentive is your satisfaction. Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, a Best Buy company, has just that, with over 60 years of service in Southern California. Pacific Sales is your destination for exploration, advice, and inspiration. And you will find all your favorite brands, like Monogram, and their commitment to providing exceptional products, starting with materials. Monogram sources commercial-grade stainless steel on their refrigerators, unscratchable sapphire glass on their cooktop knobs, durable marine-grade bearings on their dishwasher racks. Monogram takes inspiration from the leading-edge materials used in the high-end automotive and aeronautics industry to provide you with lasting beauty and exceptional quality. The beauty is backed by the same level of attention to performance, which is why Monogram appliances are trusted and sought after by chefs all over the country. Chain-driven French oven doors that can be opened with one hand, and an industry-exclusive hearth oven that allows for all-electric indoor brick oven-style cooking without the need for external ventilation. These are just a few of the things that make Monogram so special. Pacific Sales features Monogram appliances, and Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home team is here to help you and offer their Pro Rewards program, which is a trade program unlike any you have experienced before. And here's the cherry on top, access. Access to exclusive builder trade incentives from top brands like Monogram. Visit a Pacific Sales showroom today to learn how you can unlock additional savings and benefits. Don't miss out on the opportunity to work with the best of the best. Visit Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home today and elevate your projects to new heights. Pacific Sales Kitchen and Home, where excellence meets expertise.
Well, thank you for bringing up chemicals and additives, which we are all actively trying to get out of the process. And you all deal in highly natural materials. And Whitney Moore & Giles specifically has kind of an added pressure in the leather sector because I'm hearing some disturbing insistences from clients and that they want this kind of high performance. It never, nothing ever fades, and it just stays static. Well, that's not a natural process. I realize that we do want things to last. However, Charles Eames said that those chairs, the leather chairs that the Eameses produced, should patina like a well-worn baseball glove. And I don't think that we need to be so precious in the way that we approach design and materials. There's nothing that looks better than a nice, well-worn leather chair, So how do you address those kinds of practices, and how do you change the client's sort of approach to that?
Well, I think the last slide was it. It's education. So not only are we constantly looking for new products that are green or that are using different technologies, but we're also trying to help consumers, retailers, manufacturers understand that everything you buy is a quality conversation. You get what you pay for. And the less that you do to something, the more natural it's going to be. And that is really our sandbox, if you will. We produce natural leather. And they are the hardest leathers to sell because they're the hardest ones to make. It's easy to slap some paint on something and ship it out the door. And with that comes all manner of issues that you may have. But, we want people to try to understand that natural is better in the way that it will evolve over time. I believe that the consumer has a perspective on leather because of our automobiles. I think that we see the leather in our automobiles as being a fully finished leather. It's going to take a completely different beating than our interior furniture is going to take. And so we just like to get out and have the conversation of just because it scratches doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with it. We produce these hides, these byproducts of the meat and dairy industries from from material that is coming from farms that are using very good husbandry practices, and then we are tanning them mostly in Italy in a responsible way, and then it's the way we finish them with less products that continues to talk about the authentic story of leather and the natural leather story. And I think most of our battles are every day trying to get the consumer to understand that natural story. Nothing ever stays the same in the world, and leather is no different. The fabrics are going to fade, leather's going to fade, and I think it is oftentimes more expensive, but if cared for properly, it will outlive all of us, and it is it's a timeless purchase. So, I think I mentioned previously that it's something that's been with us since the beginning of time. One of the guys I like to talk about in my CEU I teach is Utsi. He didn't exactly wear hides for fashion. He was the boots with the fur. He was the original man wearing the boots with the fur. And so it's something that's been with us since the dawn of humankind, and it's going to be with us until the end. It's just we like to talk about it in a way that makes people feel more warm and fuzzy. Leather has always had a bad rap. We get a bad rap. I think it's because of the fact that we're taking an organic material and we're turning it into something that we're using, and there's a lot of feelings about that. But the truth is that these hides are available, and we're using them in a responsible way, really, to be able to outfit our homes and actually ourselves. So it's education. It's education and innovation for us.
So how about durability and patina in
Yeah.
the wood sector and in linen?
Yeah, Winnie's made a ton of great points, and organic materials do patina naturally, and often they do it in a way that we like, but there is this perception when something's being purchased that it's supposed to be, impenetrable and durable and will never, like something you sit on to never wear, to never tear is not realistic, like the belt you have around your waist. As it relates to wood, what we did, and we actually changed this. Originally, we were using some spray-on lacquers because we wanted to preserve the walnut. We use a lot of walnut. We wanted to preserve the walnut as we were delivering it to the customer, and we realized that it was more harmful to the environment, and we've now switched to all low VOC oils that you rub on. Does not mean that the day if you purchase one of our lights, that it will look exactly the same in 4 years, but the beauty of using this rub-on oil is, something as simple as an organic pledge, maybe pledge isn't the most organic, or just getting the oil that we use, you can rub back on. And, if for some reason, if it were an Eames chair or something that you're gonna keep for 50 years or 100 years, you can really easily sand and then oil again. So that's something that we changed in our process, and it's made a world of difference, and honestly, the finished product as it leaves the building now looks better than what, a furniture maker, when we were really naive and getting started, told us this lacquer is the best way to do it. We like the more natural oiled look, and it's much better for the environment and the product.
And I would say what I hear from what you're saying is that it's a celebration to and a respect of the material. And that's one of the things that we also try to talk about, is that the less is more approach is a respect for it in its truest form. And it isn't something that's a widget. It doesn't just come out. It's a manufacturing process just like a piece of furniture would be. So to rub it down with this natural oil is really an appreciation for it. And I think it's the same thing with linen as well, to not over-engineer something that is already engineered beautifully. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you said something about the patina over time in both materials. It's the same for linen. And I think there are very rare materials in our industry now that actually get better with age and better with time. And that's something we talk about a lot. So I think one of the things that you were saying, education is certainly the way that we are doing the job of getting people to embrace this philosophy and embrace our products more. So thank you for being here. I think this is really amazing that there are people in our industry, and more we see every session we do, every event we do, there are more and more people who are interested in this topic. So education is clearly at the top of the list for what we're focused on. And I'm also hearing more about just an ease of understanding to care for these products. So whether it's rubbing it down with oil or how to clean it, for linen it's the same thing. We're doing a huge, I don't want to say war, but there is a big trend for performance fabrics right now. And I think both Whitney and I think of our products as the original performance fabric, so I'll fight you outside later and we'll see who wins. But I do think that they've both been around since the beginning of time for a reason. They lasted.
I think wood has too, right?
And so I hear a lot about how do I care for it? It's going to wrinkle. It's going to be hard to clean. It's going to get dirty. And this week in High Point, we were just at the furniture market. I picked up all the materials about the performance fabrics and sort of was stunned by how difficult or how involved the care instructions were. And I thought, my God, linen is so much easier than any one of these fabrics that professes to be indestructible and bulletproof. You can throw it in the washing machine. Now, I live with linen, so again, I know how it performs, and not every linen is this way. It's good linen that's manufactured well, that's processed well, because there are things in the processing, if you don't do right, you can only dry clean linen. So you do have to know that you're using good linen, but you can put it in the washing machine. It's soap and water washable. It is more and more beautiful with time because it gets stronger. It's thirsty, it's wicking, it's moisture repellent, it's antimicrobial, and this is all just by nature. We don't have to add any chemicals to it. So for me, it's education, but it's also reaffirming what is and always has been what the nature of the fabric and fiber is. So it's just talking to you all. So thank you.
Well, Brett, thank you for bringing up your evolution away from less sustainable practices. And Whitney and Catherine, I'd love for you to touch on that as well. And Brett, if you have any others. We are all part of a learning process, and we are all evolving in our trades. And that's all we can really expect from ourselves, give ourselves a break.
Yeah, just real quickly to elaborate a little, and it's something that Whitney's now touched on a few times, but the idea of continual improvement and continual education, I think it's every fabricator's and manufacturer's, designers' responsibility to stay current and learn about new and improved ways. That's at the core of Cerno. Is we are what you would call a lean manufacturer, and then at the core of lean manufacturing is the idea, the Japanese word for it, which you hear frequently at Kaizen, is continual improvement. So I think just that's the only thing I would add to it. I mean, that's something we know it's our responsibility to learn how to keep continuing this process, and as new products are developed that are better for the environment, and as your suppliers are acting in more responsible ways, finding those people out. So just never sitting idle and just getting comfortable with the way you're doing things and assuming that's the right way, because most likely there will always be an opportunity to do better. There will. I mean, 100%. There will always be an opportunity to do better.
Agreed. And by the way, it doesn't necessarily harm your bottom line. In fact, it can improve it, right?
For ours, it's been dramatic. We've reduced inventory, which is obviously a lot better, so you're never sitting on a bunch of stuff you're not going to use. And all that came through developing better relationships with the people who are supplying our natural materials. And the reality is it's better for them, too. So they're never waiting. It's not feast or famine for anyone. It's this constant ordering process. But yeah, it's our bottom line through lean and sustainable, new sustainable practices has been helped dramatically. Yeah, it's a good point.
I think we're really remiss not to stress that because we are in a consumer industry. Yeah. So certainly do the right thing is always hopefully the impetus behind a company or a business transaction in this arena. But I think more and more just shifting your mind to understand that there are bottom line reasons to go greener. I think they're just as relevant, and sometimes they're more so. I take pride in the fact that I made a young woman cry this week because she was very conflicted in that she couldn't find the natural resources she wanted to buy. at market, and after one of my talks, she came up to me and said, I thank God you're here, because I just don't hear this enough. So I think we're really happy to see that we're getting that response. But if you have that younger customer, if you have a younger employee force that you want to employ, that story is so important in the market and really makes a difference for younger customers and employees to embrace a brand, embrace a company, than anything, it seems, out there, as well as inventory control, as well as financial savings and going carbon neutral. When we changed our lighting to all LED, we changed all of our power to wind power, we changed all of our trucks and cars to sustainable vehicles. That's a huge cost savings very quickly. And so an investment is not only an investment for the future, it's also a financial investment that is quite beneficial. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, Whitney, what about your evolution as a company? Is that well received, internally and
Yes,
for your clients?
It is. It is. We are learning that people want to know that you're doing no harm as well as a company. Leather historically has not been very innovative, because the fact of the matter is that what was working for the tanner was working, and he didn't want to really budge. So we've actually had to drive some of that into the tanneries and bring some of the new technologies to them. And it's also helping us as a company look at our bottom line, also look at our practices. And so, yes, I think that it was initially not thought of as often, and then when we started to see the newest technologies out there in the olive tanning, we started to take a harder look in the mirror. And so it started to make us, like you said, you didn't start off that way. So neither did we. And so we've had to start doing that. And we also changed our lighting over and have seen an immediate cost savings. And we're doing smaller things here and there as we go.
So let's move to the relationship between original design and sustainability. Original design is one of those things that we champion as a publication. We make sure that we fully vet our projects and our products that we're showing to make sure that they are designed by the people who originally designed them, that we're not running knockoffs. Once in a while, one might get through. We can do the best we can, and it's our stated goal, and it's very, very important to interiors. It's important to makers at all levels. I mean, I remember Cerno being ripped off from the early days, from when they were, held together with chewing gum manufacturer, like the earliest years. And I think that's one of the most despicable things you can do to a maker, is rip them off. It also affects the big manufacturers. It affects the Knowles of the world. At so many levels, it's very, very important. So let's talk a little bit about why original design is important to sustainability, being able to watch labor, supply chain, everything like that.
Do you want to go?
You get what you pay for. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. This topic gets my blood boiling. My dad, 2 weeks ago, said, check out this light in my hotel room. And it was 3 of our, not Cerno lights, three of our designs. But yeah, the reality is there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into original design. It's a lifetime. That's what my business partner and I and our entire team, it's a very collaborative effort that makes these products finished and resolved and go out the door. And then these hacks come along, and it's not the designers. It took me a while to learn that. Often the designers are speccing our product, and then once it gets put on to a big schedule, and usually at the procurement level is when we will we'll get knocked off or VE'd. That's terrible word at Cerno, VE'd. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into original design, and you get a much higher quality product. I'm yet to see a knockoff of Cerno's that even comes close to our quality because they don't know. I mean, they don't. You're taking something, trying to, whoever built this table originally or designed it originally, he's going to know how to fabricate it. And our process, that's the beauty of, once again, being a vertically integrated manufacturer, is you have this constant feedback loop until you believe something's resolved, where designers working hand in hand with the engineer, designer and engineer working hand in hand with production, and then all the way through assembly. I mean, it might get to, one of our newer employees who's in assembly and say, hey, you guys, great product, but this is taking me 30 minutes to make when it could take 5 minutes if you did that. And then we go back and do that. Where at the knockoff level, that's never going to happen. They're, going to your website, printing out your tear sheet, printing out your instructions, and reverse engineering it, and you just will get a very compromised product. And you're also, I mean, it's emotional for me. Because you're taking it, it's not just me, it's my entire team, 48 people that you're knocking off all of them. You're robbing every one of them. So yeah, knockoffs are, I mean, do your best to do your due diligence when you're specifying something. Nowadays, it's often as simple as doing a Google image search. You find something you really like and you can see all the people that are knocking off and usually find the original designer. But yeah, I would just, I appreciate you listening. It is a very personal topic for us. And it's really important to try to buy the real thing. And you won't be sorry. It's a long-term investment and hopefully a pride of ownership in having, I mean, I know the first time I got something Eames, I was like, oh my God, am I really going to spend this money, and when I could go to all the millions of people that are knocking off every Eames product out there. And it was something I'm proud of to this day. Every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm glad I spent, that extra few $100s for the real thing.
I would say leather is knocked off by vinyl and imitated every day, which is the most remarkable thing, I think. I still can't wrap my head around it. Leather is hard to sell. It is expensive, yet vinyl companies are imitating it and selling it every day. So we struggle to sell it because it's a hard leather to sell. It's a hard product to sell. And we're knocked off by a company that's imitating it. So it's awful, and we deal with it every day. And I think a few of your points that you made, Brett, about the fact that, it's trusting the process, it's trusting the designer. We're knocked off from a product perspective, leather in general, and then our products that we've been marketing, one of which is on the slide here is a leather called Brompton that has been attempted to be knocked off so many times. And, there's some trust and some credibility that comes with responsible design. So even if we do lose that spec by somebody knocking it off, we still have the respect of the consumer, and eventually it'll come back to us in some way because we're able to honor it for what it is. We're not going to compromise our processing. We're not going to knock anybody off ourselves. It's just a matter of doing the right thing and knowing that eventually it'll all come back to you.
And I think that speaks to a confidence in work. Yeah. So if you're working with a client and you're using the best products, it's easier to sell, actually, I think, because they know you're using a reputable company, they know they're getting something that's at the top of the food chain or top of the design chain, so to speak. And there is a pride that goes with that, as I spoke to before. But I even want to talk on the flip side. You were talking about working with customers that you hope support you and support your design. We look at it also as a manufacturer to support the industry that we live on. And one of the most amazing things about my job is that our bread and butter every day are small companies. And I see them, even through the crisis the last couple of years, new companies are being formed all the time. And they're small designers who bring a fabric line to the market, or they print on linen or other natural fibers. And it's our, I guess, good position and luck that we get to interact with these people all the time and help bring them together with the resources for printing and even getting to work with other companies in the industry. Moore & Giles and Libico have some collaborations we work on together as well, and maybe there'll be some in the future for more of us. But it's really an amazing synergy when you find those mutual admirers and you can form businesses that are successful together. our industry is really a lot of families, especially on the textile side. It tends to be passed down from generation to generation, and obviously in the furniture industry as well, and leather also. I mean, tanneries have acted the same way. So supporting one another is a sustainable way of doing business, and it's not just fast and all about price. If you want relationships out of this industry, textiles, furniture, that's where it is. It's not the quick, fast in for the dollar.
And I would just add, for the developers or contractors and those people in the room, it's actually, I mean, the ROI is there. We got to break the cycle that things are meant to be replaced every 3 years, every 4 years. I mean, that's what's happening, and it doesn't need to happen. There is beauty in long-lasting things. We hope that our products are here, you know, for another 100 years, 200 years. I don't know if that's realistic or not. But that cycle needs to be broken, because it's financially in the best interest of the people that are specifying products to have them last. And it's inherently very sustainable to not be, you know, replacing this, whether it becomes not this table in particular, when something becomes dated or not. And that gets into the design, which is, I mean, I don't think any of us have the crystal ball of when we're sitting having a design charrette and saying, this is going to be timeless. I'm not sure if Ray and Charles Eames knew that when they were creating that lounge. But there is a way to design kind of simply and use materials what they're best suited for. And ultimately, those are the things that, looking back on the Nelson bench or the Eames lounge or the artichoke Louis Poulsen, I mean, there's these fixtures now that have been around for 50 to 100 years and are still very relevant. And it was because they were using those materials intelligently. We believe that.
Yeah, if you have good bones, you can use these pieces and pass them down. And we talk about that with fabric. You can use it to reupholster your precious pieces that you've inherited. And it goes from modern style to traditional style and everywhere in between. So for us, you know, looking at how you can repurpose and reuse and look at sustainability from that perspective too. If you have good bones from the furniture side as well as the textile side, you'll have generational gifts to pass down from those design.
So speaking of timelessness, the idea of trends is kind of tricky. We don't do trends at interiors, and for better or worse. In our opinion, for better. It's just a kind of a hard line that we take. However, we champion new products in a very highly vetted way from original designers, large and small. And so let's talk about kind of that little gray area between wanting to continue to support all of the manufacturers, like all of you and your companies, who are doing that good work and with appropriate labor practices and sustainable materials, versus kind of bucking trends. How do you present your product as timeless from not only a material perspective, but a design perspective?
For us, I think we do plain linen, so color is definitely a way we address trend, and we do offer things that are trend right, that we can appeal to specific markets with. But I think at the end of the day, probably you all recognize there's either one or two wow pieces that you might design with, or colors. Inevitably, it comes back to what people are comfortable with and what they can use for a longer period of time. They are also looking for products they can use for a longer period of time. So I think bridging both of those challenges is somewhat easy when you look at having something that's really amazing, but then that something amazing could also be something that lasts for a lot longer and becomes more than just that trend. Right now, there is in the market all of this sheep or, you know, hairy-looking fabrics and textiles, and a lot of it is synthetic. And we're really excited to bring a 100% linen version of it to the table. So, okay, it's a trend now, but maybe it will be something that will last on and on. and we will have that product as well. So I think we try to not look at it as a trend, and whatever we bring to the market, we hope will be the next classic.
I think color for us is our trend. Believe it or not, we've got a pretty exciting marketing campaign, and Moore & Giles is definitely a leader when it comes to color and pattern. But believe it or not, we kind of just stay true to who we are. We don't try to get too fancy with it. And I think that following a trend is good, but I think if you always come back to the basics, that's more sustainable as well. And so we do launch new colors, but we have seen what has worked for us and try to kind of market those products in new colors, and then try to market new products that are in that similar family. And for us, that's the natural products, and then the new technologies. So trend is color for us, which seems kind of easy, and it seems like everybody does it, but there's also innovation, because you want to be at the forefront of that. And as there's reductions in water, and as there's new tanning techniques or new finishing techniques, that's trend too. It just doesn't seem as exciting, but it is. So I think we try to stay with who we are. We don't try to deviate too far from that, and try to embrace the new technology, because that is the other thing that is so important, is that people don't realize really what that new technology is, and until you present it to them. And with us, it was the olive tan leathers.
Yeah, I agree with both Whitney and Catherine. I mean, if you're chasing a trend, you're always going to be behind. Down in South Orange County, not really known as a hub for modern design, we feel like we're kind of outside of that sphere of influence, and I think it's really benefited us. We're not, if we were in the thick of Williamsburg or Brooklyn, where there's so much good stuff coming out of there, I don't want to hate on it at all. There's really, it's the hub of design in the United States for good reason. But I think, by virtue of being on our little island in Orange County, we're not really ever chasing trends. So I don't. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, sustainability rocks, and so do our panelists. So please join me in thanking them.
Thank you.
Design Hardware's newly remodeled showroom is where you will find a gallery-style space with a thoughtful display of products, purposefully positioned to allow unbridled exploration and discovery. High-end faucets, luxury tile, natural stone, wood floors, and bespoke hardware selections are presented in a holistic manner, strategically arranged to stimulate creativity and transition your vision from the conceptual stage to a fully realized space. Conveniently located, free parking available. Stop by to find your inspiration. Collect samples, get expert advice, and tackle everything on your shopping list all in one place. Visit them online at designhardware.com or in the real world, 6053 West 3rd Street in Los Angeles. Thank you, Erica, Catherine, Brett, Whitney. Thank you, Megan, and Troy from WestEdge. I enjoyed our conversation so much. Thank you to my partner sponsors, Thermosol, Pacific Sales, TimberTech, Monogram, and Design Hardware. These partners are amazing companies, all of them, who've made a concerted effort to support the design community through education, events, incentives, media, and exposure, not to mention a collection of extraordinary products and services to match. Check the show notes for links to each of them so you can experience firsthand how they can make your life as a designer better and your projects more amazing. So check that out. Thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to the show. Thank you for sharing the show with your colleagues and friends that you think might enjoy it. Thank you for all your emails and show and guest suggestions. Please keep them coming. I love them. Convo by Design at Outlook.com and on Instagram at Convo by Design with an X. Until the next episode, be well and take today first.